Have you ever wondered what the difference is between a strategic planning document and a strategic plan that gets implemented? Today I want to talk to you about the couple things that I've found to be true around strategy execution, strategy implementation, and what makes the difference between a shelf plan and a plan that actually gets implemented. So my name's Anthony Taylor. I'm the CEO of SME Strategy. I'm also a senior facilitator there. I've been leading strategic planning sessions for the past 12 years or so and worked in organizations, helping them move plans forward. And creating a strategic plan is arguably the easy part within an organization. And we focus on getting teams aligned on a clear vision, clear mission, clear values, clear strategic priorities, clear goals and actions, and support the communication to get there. And we do that over 2 or 3 day offsites. Today I got an email from somebody saying, hey, can you come in for our 1 day offsite, which is sometimes useful for certain things and sometimes not useful for what you want. But ultimately, at the end of that 2 or 3 day session or conversation, you have to implement the plan. And it's not exactly a paint by numbers exercise. It's not just like do a bunch of stuff. We talk about our critical capacities, which are, what we believe are the things that organizations need to be able to implement their plan successfully. And I want to get into those today, but I was saying, okay, if I try to really simplify, what do you need? The first is vision. As an organization, you need to know where the end point is, kind of the why behind where you're aiming. Okay, that's one of the great things about doing a 2 or 3 day strategy offsite is because your team can get aligned on a vision. If everybody has the vision, then you kind of keep moving incrementally forward to that end point. If you only had that and you kept doing stuff that would get you there, you'd do pretty well because you'd either know, have you accomplished the vision or not? And so even if you were disorganized, you could kind of like work your way to it. The next, I would say, are goals. Goals will help you refine and focus in the short term where you need to go. So if we thought of like a 3-year vision, the goals would help you be more effective in that first year, first 18 or 24 months. SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, and within a set of priorities. So making sure that you've been able to strategically prioritize your, strategic plan, and that you had goals, measures, and outcomes in terms of how you knew where you were going. So that's like kind of at a base level. If you had those two things, you'd be okay. The third piece of what I think is really critical for strategy execution are resources. And I don't necessarily mean money. I do mean money, but I think the bigger gap is time. Time to work together, time to work on the plan, time to think strategically, and resource planning what's going to be required for you to get to where you want to go. If you have a big vision, you're going to need more time and energy than if your vision and goals are smaller. And I don't think teams really kind of do a work breakdown structure for all of the stuff that needs to happen. I want to do this piece of work. Okay, that's going to take 10 hours. I want to make sure that this project goes ahead. Okay, that's going to take 100 hours. Okay, we want to make sure that we're engaging our top 10 stakeholders and meeting with them every month. Then we need to make sure that we have 7 or 8 people there every time. And that's going to take 1,000 hours. And so, yes, strategy work takes time, but if you don't have the strategy resourced effectively, then you're going to underdeliver. So it's not necessarily it is a planning piece, but not from a strategic or directional thing, but a planning in terms of the implementation. The fourth piece I think is communication. It's making sure that you and your team understand how all of those pieces align. How does one's group needs to work with another group, I was leading a session the last 2 days in LA, and the CEO, who was incredible, said, it's a team of teams. And I thought that was so true. And, everybody's got their different way of saying it. But putting all the cogs, or as one of my other colleagues says, fiefdoms together to make sure everybody can work. But if you don't have that communication and you don't have the time to work together, then you get lost and people don't know what's going on and it's not effective and it's not focused and you spend more time kind of spinning around in circles than moving forward. So that's another critical piece. And the last is the human element, the behaviors. It's beyond communication, beyond resourcing. It's just making sure that you're taking people along the journey. And part of that is change management. Is having people understand, how does this change affect them, bringing them along with where you're going, making sure that everybody is happy about the process, or at least understands why, because otherwise they'll resist it. There is a 6 critical capacity, which you can look up. But, as I was really trying to think about a simpler way to put that together, if you have vision, if you have goals, if you have the right resources, if you have the right communication, and you're focused on the people within it, I'm confident that you'd be able to implement your plan successfully. If there was one thing, is just make sure that you can map out all of the things that you need to get done, and do it. But of course, there's the people side of that too. One of the things that I will talk about in a future video are all the other kind of strategic tools, strategic methodologies that go within execution. So I know a lot of the videos that we talk about are about strategy, planning, teamwork. What we don't talk about are what are the tools that you use to make teams effective. How do you put a communication structure in place to support that communication? How do you do goal setting to support that goal setting? How do you understand what is the product or positioning that you need to, be competitive and be different and win? That's getting into the operations, but there's a lot of tools there that you can use. How do you figure out what you are going to keep doing, what you're going to stop doing? How do you figure out how to prioritize? How do you prioritize operational things? There's a lot more that goes into it. And I think as a leader and as a leadership team, if you're focused on the execution, make sure that the environment is around you that'll help you get there. Make sure that you break the time down and make sure that you've got enough resources, time, money, energy, and try to plan the work the plan. And from there, it can get as granular as you want it to be. And that's why you kind of do 2 or 3 days of planning and 1,100 days of execution. There's so much to do in terms of driving it forward, but incrementality is the key to make that successful. So I hope that helps you better understand how to execute the plan. In a previous video, I talked about how to take, strategy into operations, and hopefully this is a different spin on it. And I hope you enjoy our newsletter on how to execute a plan, and then you get some other insights from everyone else. So I appreciate you. If you're interested in working with us on your strategic plan, whether the planning portion or the implementation portion, reach out. We're taking clients into January 2023. And be happy to just have a consultation to see if we're a good fit to support with where you're at as an organization. So once again, my name is Anthony Taylor. I'm the CEO at SME Strategy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.